today's video, it's all about The Truth Is Out. I look into the reality behind Moomoo's towing company. We check out Rich, aka Derick of the Actors, criminal history, Felicia's pen pal empire. I respond to a response from Emily's co-host. We've got the back end of a cat. And we recap the first half of this week's episode. All this and more right here on the Lawd Lukan channel. Hello and welcome to Lawd Lukan. It's time to lift the lid on the sordid secrets hiding beneath this episode of Love During Lockup. Good day, enchanté, and Hashima Mashday to you. Big loves to those who've subscribed, you beautiful people. And a Louis XIII cognac to the lords and ladies of the Lukan Manor. And before we continue today, I have the unfortunate news to give you that one of the ladies of the manor has unfortunately passed away. Heather Simpson, or as we know her here at the manor, Lady Heather of Beechington. But we should be keeping her name up there with the lords and ladies as a sign of respect. She lost her daughter Carrie not so long ago, but I do believe they'll be reunited now. My deepest condolences to her family and friends. A wonderful woman with an infectious smile will be sorely missed. So this here episode is dedicated to her. You know, mon petit pois, a wise man once said, the only real mistake we make is the one that we fail to learn something from. And I sometimes make a wee mistake or two too. also. I believe it's all part of that delightful experience of being a bony, fleshy, mammally thing. Why did I bring this up? Well, it's a good job you asked, my delightful McMuffin. On a video from just the other week, I had a comment from Emily's partner in crime, Bella, offering a correction to something that I said. I was talking about the fact that Emily claimed that she had a comedy podcast for years. So I showed her podcast that she'd been doing off and on for about 6 months, with her co-host, Bella Badass. And her comment said this: "Hey, Bella Fatass here." Her words, not mine. Emily actually had another podcast before we dropped Problematic. She had a podcast called Unhinged with Ian and M. Sort of smiley facey thing. Hope that helps. And Problematic first season in 2024 was on Spotify, and second season was on YouTube in 2025. Now I'll get to that other podcast in just a moment. Now I thought, okay, cool. I'm happy to be corrected. As I said in my terribly polite response, thank you, I'm always happy to be corrected. I hadn't found that, so it's good to know. So, are you two going to continue the podcast? And I wondered how you feel about the way Emily has been portrayed in the show. Does it sync with your experience with her? Have a great evening. Stay beautiful. I thought it was a good opportunity to see if the Emily thing was just a big act, or if she was genuinely as annoying, unpredictable, self-absorbed and callous. And what do you know? She responded. Sort of, on TikTok. Now, I don't use my TikTok. I did for a bit, and then a friend of mine now uses it, and they let me know if there's anything that's worth looking at. So, shall we take a wee peek here what they sent to me, shall we? It does have a lame copyrighted soundtrack, so I've taken the liberty of adding my own. Wow, yes, that told me, didn't it? Now I'm pretty sure this is a bit of a low-key dig, so allow me to retort. Hi, Lawd Lukan. I hope this helps answers your question. Teapot top hat smiley face. Your favourite crash out at Emily Anthony. Crash out, of course, which is a reference to the name of the video that you watched. But, you know, crash out and favourite don't really belong in the same sentence if you apply it to me. It's a bit like saying that I've got a favourite way to be poked in the eye with a spoon. But, you know, maybe that's some of this comedy that I've been hearing so much about. Let's get it straight. I only cover her because she's in a show that I've been reviewing for years. And when I say for years, I mean consistently. And, you know, for years. Not like Emily's definition where it's a bit here and a bit there and, you know, it's for years, yeah. It's like saying that I sneezed last month and I sneezed just the other day, so therefore I've been sneezing for years. I have been friends for a few years now, and I support her no matter what. Our friendship is based on healing through chaos and learning from our mistakes and owning them. Not really, you glamorize your mistakes and then try to monetize them. Unsuccessfully. With dark humour and satire. Dark humour and satire. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe it's just me that thinks it's self-indulgent, unrelatable binge. Let's check out what the comments say, shall we? And see what the audience are thinking. Okay, well, no comments? No comments. But this one has a comment. Yes, from Bella Badass herself. Laugh, 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 laugh. You're commenting on your own video? Okay, well, maybe it's just a one-off. Let's check out another one, shall we? LMFAO, these girls are so relatable. Really? It's Emily's country accent for me? Really? Are you that desperate for some sort of feedback that you created yourself? But wait, this one has a whole 4 comments on it. And they're not all from Bella. Well, one's from Emily under a previous name, Kia. You guys are commenting on your own podcast. Laughy face. Yes, good job, Joyce. Emily says, fire, 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 fire. Then Bella says, hearty, 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 hearty. Then Joyce comes back with another comment. You have no right to talk about being a parent. You don't raise your kid. Your mama and friends do. You wouldn't even show up for his graduation. It's disgusting. Well, this is going well, isn't it? But then I realised I had top comments selected, and there were some more beauties that came up. Joyce also said, Emily, don't forget your money came from your mummy being a nurse, and you throw fits to get what you want. You need to rename this to Emily's Horror Stories. Your friend seems to have some morals. Your poor kid. It's good your mum raises him. And what's that she says next to me? We inspire women to live their most authentic lives. Yeah. It also says that they are on hiatus to prepare for season 3. Wow, that must take forever to prepare, some booze for Emily and a microphone that's too far away. Good job. I guess being this irritating doesn't just happen, you've got to prepare for it. It takes real dedication. And during the masterpiece that they sent me, they even stitched in some more comments, like these ones. It's like they're trying to tell me that they're so cool and that everybody wants to be their friends. Well, 1.5. Well done you, though. You've managed to attract some other poor deluded fools. And what's also funny is the hashtags that they put at the bottom. Like this one, #celebrity. Wow, that's an odd way of spelling hoe, isn't it? And that's the bar for celebrity considerably lowered again, isn't it? She did, of course, say that the podcast was on Spotify. Now, the stats for Spotify stuff are generally hidden unless you cross a certain threshold. But maybe there's some kind words from some inspired women on there. Banas Bella, this is a really good one. And again, they're commenting on their own podcast. I'm not quite sure if that's sort of sad or cringe. Or, a bit of both. But there is one with more than just her commenting on it. I died over gassing up the tank. In response to Q&A, what did you think about the episode? And then Emily says, can't stop laughing over how funny we are. In response to Q&A, what did you think about the episode? Then Bella says, we are so funny. In response to Q&A, what did you think about the episode? There's a bit of a pattern here, isn't there? Apart from delusion, of course. But there is another response which seems fairly genuine. Maybe. Hello there, I'm Shedin, a professional Spotify and Apple podcast promoter in USA, UK and Canada based. You will get lots of download plays, flowers and rating. Flowers? That's different. And you can earn money from your Spotify and Apple podcast. Well, that's ambitious. Kindly massage me in my inbox and check your inbox. And this is my WhatsApp number. Kindly massage me in here. So the people that think this is inspiring comedy come to the precisely... hold on, I have my pen. Let me just get back to you. 1. Good job. So when they say that 90% of people don't understand, I think I'll just amend that to 99.999999999% of people who, aren't YouTube. But I'm sure it's only the podcast that has some dubiously suspicious comments on it. Hang on a second. Here we are at Emily's Boutique. It's not actually got any official registration or anything under the name Fiercely Dynamic Fashions, but it was listed in the Chamber of Commerce under a previous address here in Altoona, where again, she gives herself a rating of 5 stars. And the names of the other reviewers are a little bit suspicious, and her listing in TripAdvisor is also a little bit on the sus side. Nearly all the reviews are by accounts which have only ever left 1 review, and that was on her shop. And this one, simply called Jennifer, left 3 reviews. Then we have some which maybe aren't quite so flattering. Horrible clothing. Horrible clothing. Materials like Shein clothes. Save your money. 90% of her reviews are her friends. No. Probably about 80% are her friends. About 10% of them are her. Absolute disgrace. First of all, they did not send the items I'd purchased. The alternative arrived and the boxes were opened and battered. They're now saying it happened in transit. The boxes didn't open themselves. And it's quite amazing that some of the few things that aren't fake about Emily's businesses are these. It's also quite funny that during a crash out, she tries to flex her business in some fantasy non-profit.
Business nonprofit podcast, all this back home on the East Coast, you dumb.
Well, let's look into that, shall we? There's nothing in the Pennsylvania Department of State Nonprofit Registry, nothing in the IRS 501c3 database, nothing in the Pennsylvania Bureau of Charitable Organizations, nothing in GuideStar, nothing in Candid, nothing in Charity Navigator, or any other county-level filings. If she were to run a non-profit, even just a teeny tiny one, it would at least appear in one of these places. In her blog, she writes that her ultimate goal is to expand into inspirational speaking in schools. Say what? Schools? There's that comedy again. Schools love inviting prostitutes in to give talks. And correctional facilities. And that she is working towards building a non-profit organisation to be able to give back to the community. So she aspires to. She just, hasn't gone and done anything about it yet. A bit like being a mother to her kid, I guess. But what about the other podcast that she mentioned, Unhinged with Ian and Em? They describe it as two ex-correctional officers doing dark humour. Okay, well, first, it's not dark humour. Dark humour covers things such as death and tragedy, and uses irony and wit. Whereas these two, they do blue comedy, which is about sex and bodily functions.
You ever had a poo snake?
A poo snake?
Poo snake. I guess in your,
No, I
then
have not.
you gotta...
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard.
Then they just say something bathroom-based and laugh about it for ages.
I bet that guy moans when he wipes. Fat shit.
Yeah. So, was I wrong when I said that they didn't have a comedy podcast for years? Well, after this exhaustive scientific investigation, I think I'd like to adjust my original comment. Emily's never had a comedy podcast. And the adjustment that she's had it for years? No. I will stand by exactly what I said. She's had various short-lived projects, which are self-indulgent, unrelatable in-jokes, but I hardly think they can be defined as comedy. Therefore, I wasn't wrong at all. Good job. Right, well, I think we've sorted that one out, haven't we? Shall we get to the episode now? We kick off with an Emily and Justin segment. And I do love the little voice you get when you get called from an inmate. It always sounds unnecessarily pleased when it reads out the name of the institution.
Prepaid collect call from an incarcerated individual at SCI Houtsdale.
Woohoo!
SCI Houtsdale.
Welcome to Guantanamo Bay! Yeah, anyways, Justin calls up in grovelling mode to try and half apologise for his red lines and opinions, but also to make sure that his cash supply has not gone away.
Just hoping it's something that, you don't hold against me.
Translation, please don't stop sending me money. They're as bad as each other, really, aren't they? She's using him for a bit of TV time, and he's using her for money all the time, planning on getting back together with Liz.
When I was in Vegas, I didn't do content after Justin told me not to.
She said she didn't do the content because he asked her not to, but then he goes and asks her for another couple of $1,000. And what is he doing with these thousands of dollars? In Hootsdale, there isn't a spending cap, but there is a practical amount that an inmate can order. They can only buy up to 6 units of e-cigs per week, or 2 to 3 units of chewing tobacco. He says he needs it to build up a commissary shop so he can sell things to buy things that he needs. Well, you've just got a couple of $1,000, so why would you need the money to buy the things to sell the things so you can buy the things that you need? Make that make sense.
Double my money by buying and selling those, so I don't have to ask for much.
So even though he'd be making money, he would still just be asking for some, just not as much. Okay, so why bother? One of the likely reasons, of course, is that he could be in a bunch of debt. One of the reasons why inmates need such a big load of cash is because they owe another commissary shop and are trying to avoid a nasty accident.
I really have no idea how Justin expects me to be able to support him, myself, and my son.
So, back at Emily's place. Well, the place that they show is Emily's house. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath property that's been in the same family since 2009. Public records show it sold for around $67,000 back then, bought with a standard long-term mortgage from a local bank. And outside the house is Emily's son, Drake. And the thing about kids is that the reactions are genuinely quite genuine.
Come here, baby! Oh. Baby! Oh my goodness! You wanna look at it?
Wow, he was so overjoyed to see her. And she was so overjoyed to see him that she immediately puts him to bed.
Mwah! Sweet dreams! Sweet dreams!
Good job. And we get to meet Emily's mum too, who we briefly met on a phone call while Emily was pretending that she checks in. The fact that Bonnie, or Bonita, is asking about the basics of where Emily was kinda suggests that Emily hasn't bothered to be calling home. And she's super proud of her daughter.
Her selling herself is very degrading.
let's leave them there for now and take a trip over to see GG, Moomoo, Bonita, and my favourite cast member. Yes, indeedy, it's Gates. Oh, hello you. And here we find GG doing a spot of shaving. And Moomoo treats us to a little nugget of knowledge.
Don't shave my mustache.
Women that got mustaches got some good coochie.
Really? I don't fancy yours much. Still, I think Alexis must be pretty pleased to hear that. So I wonder how legitimate businessman Moomoo is getting on. In the last video, I wondered why a man who claimed to have so many legitimate businesses needed to take money from a single mother for a legal defence. Well, aside from spending it all on clothes, money, cars, and jewellery that Bonita ended up selling half of, well, let's take a little looky, shall we? And for that, we need to pop over to his Instagram. And I did find that he and I actually follow some of the same accounts. And it did kind of leave me thinking that this guy is quite awake to some universal truths. But that's a whole other thing. The world is a really strange place. Anywho, on his page he promotes his legitimate trucking company, Royale Reliable Towing LLC. Ooh, a real LLC, huh? Well, kind of. It was formed in 2021, failed to submit its form in 2022, and is currently in forfeiture, which probably means that he didn't file what he needed to file, and the government shut it down administratively. It doesn't mean there's any criminal wrongdoing, of course, but it does mean that a forfeited LLC can't legally operate or charge for its services until it's reinstated. It can't conduct business, has no legal right to operate, and cannot defend itself if it gets sued. Also, Royale Reliable Towing Company doesn't appear to ever have owned a Maryland towing license, but it did have a DOT registration in 2021. However, it didn't submit a biannual MCS 150, so that claim about it being a legitimate business, well, the paperwork isn't exactly backing that up. Back at Gigi's place, and Moomoo's mum has arrived to take them to the storage unit. That sounds like a line from Peppa Pig or something, doesn't it? Boo Boo, Tipsy Whipsy, and Skanky Wanky are off to the circus to see the Ellie Wellies. Are there any adults in this show? Anyway, Moomoo's mum, Nikita, isn't my kind of people. She originally set off the red flagorama with her willingness to deceive Gigi and her really quite unconvincing lying. But there is another thing.
Aw, nice to meet you, pretty girl.
See? Did you see what I saw? She totally ignored the dog and brought her knee up to get rid of it. Personally, I go nuts when I see someone's pets. Oh, look at you, my little fluffy friend. Yep, I'm totally that guy. I totally lose my composure around your animals, and I'm the one who's totally gonna hype up your dog so it gets the zoomies. And she drives at like 3 miles an hour. Speaking of cars... that's a car, isn't it? I think it was at one point in time. It's a 1997 Nissan Maxima. Wow! But what's all that down the side of it? Is that bird poop? That's probably what's holding it together. And what happened to the wheels? They look like they're 2 sizes too small. But you too could own one of these bad boys for a mere $500 to $800. Bargain. It's cheap to buy, but expensive to fix. But who cares when you can earn such luxury as this? And rest assured that don't you worry if the locks don't work, because nobody's going to be stealing that beast. Even the paintwork has died of embarrassment. And look at the thing shake as she drives. Death trappy. Yeah, I'll get an Uber. Thanks. So Bonita has hatched a master plan to avoid getting caught having sold his stuff.
Me and my fiance has stuff here already. I'm just looking over at this lock.
Huh?
Me and my fiance has stuff here already.
Right, where's my viewer from Maryland who helped me out last time? Victoria, I need you. What did she say?
Me and my fiance has stuff here already.
I managed to decipher the second part, which is that she's decided to put a second lock on it, so they can't go getting their paws on it, and it looks like it'll be storage wars at dawn. Do I hear one chance? Do I hear 2 chances? No, there's no chance that she's going to get away with that.
Okay.
Why they trying to protect those goods?
Well, there's not too many goods left in there after she sold most of it.
I don't know what him and his mom is up to. I'm up to here.
Huh?
I don't know what him and his mom is up to. I'm up to here.
Good, yeah. Yeah, you know what she said. If only we had a man with a funny voice to show us around.
This is 25 right here.
Nailed it.
I'm an empath. I can feel it. I think it's weird. I'm gonna just sit back and watch go unfold.
And while Bonita sits back to watch it all unfold, we take a trip over to Houston, Texas to check out what's happening with Rich, whose real name is Derick, and Felicia. Now, Derick, who classes himself as an actor, apparently, has had a colourful past too. According to a mix of merry pants and sarcasm, Rich was arrested twice in 2025. Once in January for possession of cannabis on a firearm, where he pled guilty to the possession of firearm and was fined $900 and made to attend a firearm awareness course. This is a firearm. Thank you very much. And then again in September last year for violating his supervision. But before that, he had quite a little record. In 2016, he was convicted of possession of a controlled substance. In 2014, there was one offence for possession of marijuana. In 2013, there was a hoping to sell the little which he was convicted of, which basically means the manufacturing, selling, or otherwise dealing in prohibited weapons, such as leaded canes, billy clubs, and impact weapons. In 2007, he was convicted of vandalism. And in 2012, he was dismissed for prostitution. Now, that one was a misdemeanor, where he would have been directing somebody to engage in it. So it could have been either bringing a man to a woman, bringing a woman to a man, or simply helping somebody get clients. But it's not entirely clear what that was. In 2007, he had one for robbery, which was unknown, and another one for grand theft, which of course is theft of property or goods over the value of $950. Whoops. He's also got criminal parking too. I mean, look at that. Half in the road and half on the zebra crossings. So Derick is meeting Felicia's ex-cellmate, Kay. That is it me? Or is there a little bit of chemistry going on here?
Meet you.
I see you, Charmin.
Felicia is passing her time in jail being a full-time pen pal, and according to her, is booked out every hour on the hour.
I talk to between 22 to 24 a day.
And for what she says, business is good.
I'm making at least $1,500 from these guys a week.
And so Derick asks the obvious question. Does Kay think she'll keep doing what she's doing when she gets out?
I don't think that's going to be an issue for her.
Okay, yeah, sure. So she's just going to go from making $1.5 grand a week, that's $6 large a month, to just doing what? Get a job? For my 40 cents, she's going to be living it up on her sugar daddy's Courtney style.
I sell them a dream that I'm coming home to them, I love them.
And is Derick really the one? Is he really the one of the 20 plus men that's going to make this woman his? As we know, Felicia's murdering ex will be out a couple of months after her. An ex who has a healthy past with her. I do hope that Derick's MMA is up to scratch by that point. Maybe some Kevlar. That might be useful. But then there's more to the pen pal story than just that.
And then you know my mom in there.
For real?
Yeah, she's the manager.
Yes, indeedy. Kay's mum, Mary, is now Felicia's cellmate and acts as a manager for her pursuits.
We have to have 2 tablets a day because if I'm visiting them on one, she has to text all the rest of them on another.
So it all goes delightfully. Rich gets to meet Felicia's friend. He feels slightly more at ease over the whole pen pal thing, even though he doesn't really know the full extent of what's going on. And Kay has a thought on that one.
I don't think he's going to be able to handle Felicia. She is going to eat him for lunch.
Well, it's all going okay so far. He's about to have a bit of a learning curve descend upon him, but it does look like things might just go his way if he's careful. Right?
And K's cool, you know what I'm saying? I with K. Text K at A. Let's link up later, smoke something.
What could possibly go wrong? Well then, that's all I've got time for in this video. I'll be back this week with more and a delightful stream, so don't you go missing that. The thing about the truth is it doesn't rush. It sits behind you, patient as a shadow, until the moment you finally turn around. And when you do, you realise it was never actually chasing you. It was you running from yourself. You can hold it off for a while, sure, but sooner or later, the past asks to be accounted for. And when it does, it doesn't knock. It just walks straight through the door that you thought that you'd locked. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Again, a huge respect to our fallen Lady Heather. A glorious soul that will be missed, but always remembered here at the Manor. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is, as always, a massive pleasure to have you here at the Manor. Thank you for being here and for spending this time with me. Let's do it again sometime, shall we? So if you like what I do, then please do like, subscribe, and check out one of these little beauties. And until I see you again, stay beautiful, love to my 3, and you take care of yourself.
Please subscribe now for our live. Thank you.